Hey, horror fans, once again, it's the Horror Miser Monty G. Yes, time to do another tag video because I was tagged by my good friend Sean Erschen from the Horror Corner. I love it when he does that. This is his underrated horror movie tag. Now, he created this tag for underrated horror movies. Here are 9 questions in the tag, and I liked some of the questions that he had. And now it's time for me to do this tag. And there, like I said, there are 9 questions. Let's start with question number 1. What is the most underrated horror movie in the past 20 years? Now, this is a very difficult question to ask because, including myself, I know there are a lot of good underrated horror pictures a lot of people don't talk about. But I decided to pick The Loved Ones that came out in 2009. Now, this is a very good horror picture. I saw it myself. I put a review up. I'm going to put a card up there if you want to see my review of The Loved Ones because I really did enjoy that horror movie. It's basically about this crazy-ass woman named Lola and her father. They kidnapped this guy because he rejected her, but she asked him to be her date for the prom. And they go about this crazy night of craziness between the two of them. And you can tell that there's something a little bit going on more between the mother and the daughter. But a great performance by Robin McLeary. I think that's what her name, the actress that played Lola. And it's a pretty good horror picture. Most people know about it, but somehow I think it doesn't get the respect that it deserves as an excellent horror picture. So, The Loved Ones for the most underrated horror picture in the past 20 years. Question number 2, what is the most underrated slasher film of all time? All time. Now, this is, again, a very difficult question, but for me, it was kind of easy because I don't think no one has seen this picture. It's called Visiting Hours. I remember when I first saw this in the theaters. It came out in 1982. It was right probably at the time when slasher films were about to take off. We just had Friday the 13th. I believe, I don't know if this came out prior to Friday the 13th Part 2 or not, but it was right to the point where we got into the mad slasher craze. And this one is, no one really talked about this much. It stars Lee Grant, if I'm not mistaken correctly. Yeah, it stars Lee Grant, William Shatner of all people, and Michael Ironside. Now, Lee Grant, she plays this reporter who gets attacked by this psychopath played by the late Michael Ironside. He injures her, but he doesn't kill her. Now, she's in the hospital. Now, obviously, the guy, Michael Ironside's character, knows that, so he goes into the hospital. And he tries his best to try to kill her because he's the only one that identify him. It's a very well paced, very well acted, very nice kills that this guy, Michael Ironside, plays in his particular picture. And a lot of people probably not seen this before, so I'm pretty sure if you've not seen it, I suggest you check it out. So, underrated horror slasher, Visiting Hours. Question number 3, who is the most underrated horror director of all time? Now, this was another interesting question. I searched hard and far for this one. There was a couple of people I thought I was surprised to see on this particular list, but I decided to go with Marcus Nispel. Now, if you don't remember this guy's name, he's the one that directed the Friday the 13th and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remakes, and he did a pretty good job with both of them. Both remakes were very good. I like what he did with Jason. He incorporated at least the first 3 movies of the original into this one. He did a pretty good job. I thought he made Jason even more terrifying, more threatening slasher killer in this remake right there. There was a lot of people that we wanted to see killed in that one right there. And he also did a pretty good job with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. It was very brutal. It was much more violent, much more darker version of than the original one. And Jessica Biel was a pretty good final girl in that one too. So yeah, so Marcus Nispel as the most underrated director for question number 3. Question number 4, who is the most underrated actor in a horror movie of all time? This was pretty simple. I mean, no one really talks about Ted Levine, Buffalo Bob, and The Silence of the Lambs. I mean, come on now. Put the lotion in the basket. I mean, the guy was nuts. He was crazy, and he doesn't get the credit that he deserves for the job that he did. And I know a lot of, I mean, we talk about, Anthony Perkins. I mean, not Anthony Perkins. Anthony Hopkins and the great job he did as Hannibal Lecter. Lecter and Jodie Foster in her performance as Clarice Starling in this particular movie. But come on, give Ted Levine some love. He deserves it. So question number 4, most underrated actor in a horror movie, Ted Levine. Question number 5, I mentioned her name before. Who is the most underrated actress in a horror movie of all time? Like I said before, Robin McLeary in The Loved Ones. She did a fantastic job as Lola. Lola was way out there. She was crazy. She was nuts. And she was also very dangerous, too. I mean, she just really it took her off. Now, about to spoil the movie, if you haven't seen it right now, about to spoil it right now, it took her getting run over at least 3 times before they finally killed her. But that's determination and craziness that Lola has. So, Robin McLeary in The Loved Ones, question number 5. Question number 6. Well, what is the most underrated horror sequel of all time? Now it's time for me to get old school on you guys, because you know me, I love my old school horror. I'm going to go with The Bride of Frankenstein. It doesn't get the love that it has. I mean, yeah, it's still a classic. It's part of Universal Monsters. But when you take a look at it, it takes place right after the events of the original Frankenstein. It still has the atmosphere. It still has that moral dilemma that the first Frankenstein that we got right there, and obviously we get to see the bride and how she rejects Frankenstein, and he doesn't like it at all. She doesn't like me. She hates me. Yeah, I still remember those lines too. Yeah, but number 6, most underrated horror scene of all time, The Bride of Frankenstein. Question number 7, the most underrated death scene in a horror movie. Now, this was very difficult, because we always talk about some of the death scenes, and I know that there's a tag or some type of video that's going out about the top death scenes in movies. We're talking about the top death kills in certain horror movies. But I think one that doesn't get talked about is the ripped jaw scene in Mirrors. Yeah, Amy Smart's character in Mirrors, she's about to take a bath, and we see her reflection not move in the whatchamacallit. So by the time she gets to the bathtub, the next thing you know, the mirror just simply just comes, rips off her face, and just pulls her whatchamacallit out, and then you see the effects when she's in the bathtub. Very disturbing scene, very well made, very practical effects. I believe it was practical effects. Might have been a bit CGI too, but yeah, that was a very nice death scene right there. Yeah. So the rip jaw scene in Amy Smart and Mirrors. Question number 8. What is the most underrated soundtrack or score in horror movies? And again, I had to search a lot for this one. I'm going to say James Horner's score in Aliens. Now, a lot of people don't talk about it. Yeah, we talk about the movie, we talk about Ripley, we talk about, you know, one of the favorite one-liners, "Get away from her, you bitch." But we don't talk about the music. That was a decent score that James Horner wrote in his picture, especially at the time when we think everything is safe. We see Bishop has left, and we see Bishop come back. They're about to leave the space station, and ship blows up. And that was a nice score right there. Plus some other scenes right there when they get back into the APC, they're driving through it. We see the score right there. That's a nice sound right there. So obviously, yeah, Aliens, most underrated soundtrack or score in a horror movie for question number 8. And now the last and final question, question number 9. What is the most underrated horror movie of all time? Now, this was a very difficult question to look up, because I was trying to figure out, okay, what horror movie is underrated? And there's probably a lot of them. Probably been mentioned before, but I think one of the movies that doesn't get mentioned a lot is pretty good is Oculus. Came out in 2013. As far as Karen Gillan from Doctor Who fame, it was a very decent horror film. Loved it a lot, but a lot of people don't talk about it a lot. I think a lot of people should check out that movie. Very decent. A lot of misdirections. I like how they filmed the movie because it's a non-layer setup. You see flashbacks for when her and her brother or little kids when they first got the mirror and when they're now adults. And we have Katie Sackhoff. She's also in his pictures as well. She plays a mother. And how the mirror affected her, I thought that was decent performance that she did as well too. So check that out, Oculus. Very good, an underrated horror movie. And so that's it. That's all the 9 questions that Sean asked. I want to thank Sean again for tagging me. So now come to the point where I will start tagging some people. And first of all, I'm going to tag my great Queenie Todd. Queenie Todd, I want you to do this tag. My new friend Darius from Addiction TV, I want you to do this tag as well. And also my good friend Random Ross. Random Ross, yes, you've been tagged by the Horror Miser Monty G. And anybody else, if you're watching this video, officially called yourself tagged by me, just make sure that you give Sean the credit. I'm going to leave a link for his channel in the description box below because this is his tag. So make sure you mention that because this is his tag so he gets the credit. Well, that's my video for the day, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And once again, if this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you can come and enjoy the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. And as always, all my social media links will be down in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, your rules. Buffalo Bill, take us home. We're out.
Put the fucking lotion in the basket!